Everything's okay? Everyone understood the stats? How was our sound? What was it? Good show, yeah? Yeah, they hit Yakimo. They haven't asked us for a final inspection yet. They probably still got some stuff to do on the inside. You know, they got help department, and other things that they gotta go through the level too. I'm only on the outside. I do the building, parking lot, and ground. I don't go inside at all. None of the uses that happen on the inside. How you doing? I don't feel good. Handicap, dumpster location, landscaping. Certain landscaping, certain things. And if you look out there, that's a thin little small little thing out there. ready. Yes, sir.
But I'll look.
You're shopping in town?
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Caroline?
Y'all need to sign off yourself.
I will see if there is one. We just got, hold on.
You got Gleason?
Don't know.
You got Gleason on there?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
I don't know how to
I'm
find
telling
it.
you, should be able to click on the link, join.
Hold on.
Pasco, give him that.
Girl for the essay's not here.
I heard that, yeah, she made a couple lines in the door, just,
Well, if she's not, we'll skip over her and come back.
Mike, in case he has to use it, just as long as.
Okay, we good over here?
she needs it.
Kevin, you want it?
Okay, are we good over here? Can I start the meeting? Barbara, can I start the meeting?
Yes, Mike, you got that? Yes, sir.
I heard they didn't have a quorum. 919?
Yes, sir.
We're trying to get Kevin in here.
Yeah. There shouldn't have gotten that.
Is that your number?
No, it's a number that you.
Okay.
So, that was.
Yeah.
I can declare whatever I want.
It's just what, 6 numbers, right?
Whatever I gave you.
You do that while I do this. 6 o'clock, we'll call this meeting to order. Tonight our invocation will be done by Commissioner Wilkins, Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Albright.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this blessed opportunity to come and gather together. We pray, Father God, as we go through this meeting, you would endow us with the wisdom and the understanding we need to make sound decisions for our community. Bless every member of this board. Bless our mayor. Bless our entire staff, and a special blessing to the chief and his police staff. Father God, in all that we do, we give you honor and glory. We thank you and we love you. It is in the name of Jesus that we do pray. Amen.
Amen. Stand with me to say the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, this time I'll remind the gallery and the Board of Commissioners and all involved that please silence your cell phones for us, please. And at this time, City Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Way.
Present.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Here.
Commissioner Albright.
here.
Mayor Pro Tem Kaczynski.
Present.
Mayor Wheeler.
Here.
Commissioner Gleason is absent, excused.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, I'll ask for any additions or subtractions from the agenda.
Mr. Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem.
I want to pull 5A because I have a question about it before we approve it.
Okay. That's an amendment, so we need to probably move it to old business.
Okay, 9B.
Let's make it 9B. That was 5A. All right, any other adjustments? Not hearing any, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the removal of item 5A, which has been moved to 9B.
So moved.
Motion is made by, well, I wasn't sure if she would need to say anything. Made by Commissioner Albright. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion carries 4-0. All right, at this time, I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
So moved.
Pick one. Commissioner Way has made the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries 4-0. All right, we move on to 6, which is introduction, recognition, and presentations. Recognitions of the MLK Essay Contest winner. I'm going to assume I got something in here for her.
Yes, sir.
Brenda, would you step up here for me, please? And we're gonna let you stand right there, and I have something for you after you finish. Brenda Padilla, did I say that right, is an honors English student at Grand Memorial College, and this year's winner of the CREEDMOOR Parks and Recreation Department's 2024 MSA contest. Brenda will read her winning essay to the board and be recognized for this accomplishment.
My essay is titled The Evolving Definition of Equality. The definition of equality is simply the state of being equal. It is now a custom in our society to be equal. People aren't segregated anymore, but how did this happen? Who or what made this huge change in our past that seems crazy to us now? I dreamed that everybody on earth would uphold the principles outlined in Martin Luther King Jr.'s 1963 speech, and that everyone will continue to live in equality and peace. King delivered his famous I Have a Dream speech in front of almost 200,000 people at the Lincoln Memorial in 1963, hoping to shift society's views of equality in unison with the civil rights struggle. Dr. King believed that one day people will set aside their differences and love one another, treat one another fairly, and alter American and Southern customs. King lived in a world where equality was absent. As he was a man of African descent, he was the last in line to be treated equally. He wanted the world to be equal, although that seemed hilarious at the time. But more specifically, King's public legacy is contained by his universalization of America's vision of equality as a necessary and fundamental commitment of the national community. Following King's speech and many other influential people in the civil rights movement like W.E.B. Du Bois and Rosa Parks, the term equality will frequently come up in discussions between government representatives. Eventually, it would become legislation known as the Civil Rights Act, which was influenced by King. At the time, the civil rights movement was a fight for equal rights for African Americans, but why did it need to happen in the first place? Although there are many ways to interpret this question, it comes down to people being racist and segregating African Americans purely because of their skin color. He dreamed of communities based on love for people instead of love for things. This is what King wanted for America, just for people to love each other no matter the color of their skin, since he was hated for his race. The phrase separate but equal was coined in 1896, shortly after segregation would begin, with a heavy emphasis in the South, where King lived. We all know by now blacks and whites were separated greatly. This was normal for them, but King attempted to change that in his prominent I Have a Dream speech at the March on Washington. He said, "I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice." His goal was to show the South and the rest of America that accepting and loving one another should be the norm, not segregation. As a person of color myself, I truly hope that America will continue to listen to what King had to say, but also follow it, not just because it's a law, but because they want to. Martin Luther King envisioned equality and peace for all people, as well as the continuation of these customs for many more years to come. Although this has changed America's views greatly and has had an enormous impact on our society, racism still exists in America. But thanks to many prestigious people in our history, racism is not as cruel as it was in 1963. Equality has evolved greatly since MLK. He not only showed the world that being equal would benefit them, since they have nothing to lose but everything to gain, but he showed that equality is not a bad thing and that segregation did nothing good. Over the years, many challenges have popped up in dealing with equality and racism, such as Black Lives Matter, where Black people are fighting for equality, and in general, people are still being discriminated against because of their race. These challenges of racism and being equal will forever haunt our world as long as humans are alive. The people in the past, now, and in the future will forever work to help these challenges and engage in a society where equality is normal.
At this time, it's my pleasure and honor to present you with the certificate of recognition presented to Brenda Padilla for winning the 2024 Martin Luther King Essay Contest held by the City of Creedmoor Parks and Recreation Department. Certificate contains the gold seal. And we're very happy to present that to you, and thank you so much for doing this. All right, at this time, swearing in the oath of office for Officer Johnny Evans. You'll join us up front, please. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Johnny Arthur Evans, do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, that I will be alert and vigilant to enforce the criminal laws of this state. That I will not be influenced in any manner on account of personal bias or prejudice, and that I will faithfully and impartially execute the duties of my office as a police officer with the Creedmoor Police Department, according to the best of my skill, abilities, and judgment. So help me God. Go to 9A, Creedmoor Village. Mr. Frangos, I believe this is your puppy.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the Board of Commissioners. Mike Frangos, your Community Development Director. Tonight's item is case number CZ 2023-02, entitled Creedmoor Village. It is a conditional zoning request that we began back in June of 2023. It began with a pre-application neighborhood information meeting held by the developer and his professionals that night in June. They've made 3 revised submittals of the conceptual master plan, and there have been 7 versions of the conditions of approval. The plan has been through the technical review committee and has received a favorable recommendation for approval from the planning board. The public hearing for this item was held back in November of 2023, and it was well attended. You might recall there were several neighbors that did come and speak. If approved, As developed, Creedmoor Village would become a significant addition to our urban residential landscape with potentially a maximum of 575 residential units, 425 of those multifamily apartments, and up to 150 townhouses, as well as a significant regional shopping destination for all of southern Granville County. So included in your agenda, there are 4 parts to this approval. One is the conceptual site plan, which you see is included as 6 pages, 1 through 6 in your packet. There is the list of conditions, which is included. It's actually toward the end of your packet in this case, but there are, I don't know the final number. Let me get to the number. 16 multi-part conditions that are included on 4 pages there. And then there would be the resolution and the ordinance, which also comprise the entirety of the decision. Your community development staff recommends approval, and the applicant, unfortunately, Darren Coons, sent me an email earlier tonight that said he would be unable to attend the meeting. He did want me to express his gratitude to you for this process and his regrets for not being able to attend tonight. If there are any questions I could answer, I'd be glad to try and help get us through.
Any questions?
Don't forget the button.
Hit your light if there is a bonfire. See what we can do with this. All right, not seeing any. There's one. Commissioner Wilkins.
I have no questions, sir. I was gonna make the motion, but
Okay. Not seeing any others.
Sir, I just want to make clear that the ordinance, Mike, is going to be 2024-002, because we already had an 01 in the agenda.
Sorry.
All right, just so you know, when you make the motion to approve, it's 02.
Okay,
That's the ordinance, the last one on that list.
Yep.
Rezo's correct, the ordinance is going to be 02. Just so whoever makes that motion is aware of it.
Got it.
Thank you.
So the bottom one is 02.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any questions for Mike? I'll ask that again since the other side's right. Commissioner Albright.
Mike, remember the conditions that we talked about last time? Are they still in the mix with this, or?
Everything is in the mix.
Everything?
Of ordinance.
Okay.
Would you like me to go over specifically some of those details?
Yes, yeah, let's do that. Let's refresh.
On page 43 of your agenda, which is page 3 of the conditions specifically, number 16, I think, gets at a lot of the things that were most recently discussed. Number 16 identifies the milestones there towards the bottom for site progress points, and these are things that would have to be completed within the first 24 months after approval. Specifically, number 1, clean and continually manage the site frontage along NC 56 to remove any trash, accumulated debris, or litter, and secure and continually manage the site access by replacing the vehicular barricade on the boulevard intersection off of NC 56. So I remember those were critical points right towards the end that we wanted to be sure and include. And then on the next page, page 44 of your agenda, you'll see the other development progress points, which these, I think, are the much more substantial elements of engineering and continued planning regarding the development summary map, the sketch subdivision plat, the traffic impact analysis, the dynamic water and sewer utility flow analysis that has to be included. All of those things that go on to the development progress points would be included there. And then the one key, which was the one, I'll call it a concession, but particularly it was a negotiated point, is that these milestones would extend up to 6 full years from the date of approval, but of course, we will incrementally complete both site progress points and development progress points along the way. And if something were to happen and there were a 24-month break without any progress having occurred, the site would revert back to C56 zoning that it is today. So I do believe we've accomplished everything that the board had at least enumerated to me in advance.
Site progress points. What if the contractor doesn't do these things? Do we have any, do we have any teeth to enforce this?
Well, the enforcement, of course, is the fact that we take back the zoning.
Okay.
The idea that the zoning decision that you're hopefully
Based on that.
based upon all these conditions of approval goes away.
And the other question that or not even a question, in this list, the Sigwasa allocation request form needs to be changed to Sigwasa System Development Application. Because there's not going to be an allocation request form anymore.
Ah, okay,
That's the System Development Fee policy is going to replace that.
okay.
Has it been done?
We're still in the middle of 30 days decision on this.
Well, I guess my question is, do we do it because it will be changed, or do we do it the way it is when this is approved?
Well, as long as the wording of it doesn't hold up the developer, that's the thing. I mean, if he does the Sigwasa document and it says system development, I don't want us to hold for an allocation request. And I know Mike and his staff down there know it now, but we're talking 4 years down the road before this is all completed. So I just want to make sure that we're clear on that.
And see, I would think that we would need to approve it based on the way it's
It's now.
written now,
Okay.
instead of way.
My 2 cents, and you know, my two cents is that we use the language that we have written and put insert, something as the allocation program may be amended or updated from time to time, so that we're clear that we are not proposing or inserting language that references the policy that's not in place yet, but makes clear that we can follow whatever future policy may be.
I'm sure we can make that in addition. I don't think that's a significant change to the conditions. Right, no, I think that's pretty clear. We could make that slight addition.
Okay, any other questions? At this time, I will entertain, I'm going to break this down a little bit. So we're going to do this is motion to approve conditional zoning DZ 2023-02 Creedmoor Village is shown on the conceptual master plan with the list of conditions.
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Wilkins. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries 4-0. Next, we'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2020.
Ordinance.
No, resolutions first.
Motion to approve resolution 2024-R-02.
So moved.
Commissioner Wilkins. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, no. 4-0, and then motion to approve ordinance 2024-0-02.
So moved.
Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
That is correct.
So moved.
And also by Commissioner Wilkins. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Well, I asked a question.
Not right now, no, sir. We're in the middle of the vote. I'll allow you to ask it after it's finished, but we're right in the middle of it.
I think you need to ask them before you vote.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries 4-0. Mr. Emery, you have plenty of time to speak during public comment.
Well, I didn't know that this was gonna be on the agenda tonight.
Well, I'm in a kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, but because I know you and I know if you have something to say, it would be important, I will if you'll step up to the microphone and, name where you live, and I'll allow you 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. Danny Emery, 2125 Sam Moss Hayes Road, Creedmoor. The only question I've got is since the public hearing, and we've gone back and you've made all these changes and stuff, why was there not another public hearing held?
There's,
Kevin?
There's no obligation for a second public hearing. This is how conditional zoning works. Public hearing was held back in November. Residents had the opportunity to make comments regarding proposals during that time. These conditions that were negotiated were based upon the comments that were received during the public hearing.
I understand that, but I still think because of the number of changes that have been made, that another public hearing should have been held to at least give the residents an opportunity to see what exactly is going on here.
And maybe my point was incorrect, but I don't believe any changes were made to the specific development proposal. What changes were made were regarding these progress points and other conditions of approval.
Well, the number of residences has changed.
The development that was presented at the public hearing back in November has changed, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. Whether there were changes made or not, I certainly understand your point. Perhaps if there are members of the community who would like to have a separate or second public hearing on the matter, but it's simply not required, and it's not part of the city process.
I understand that, but that would be in good standing, in good faith anyway, to allow the citizenry to have an opportunity to make any additional comments.
Mr. Emery, we appreciate your opinion, we do, and appreciate you speaking.
Right.
But we're not gonna have a public hearing.
Well, I understand.
It's not gonna change it.
I understand that, but I'm just saying that in the future, it might be something to consider.
We will consider.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we move on now to 9B, which is amendment of the CPRC 2013 resolution and bylaws. City manager. I'm on 9B, which is, item 5A.
We missed one. Skip one.
Okay. And then page 45.
Yes. That's the amendment to the CREEDMOOR. Before you go into that, Mayor Pro Tem, since you asked that to be moved, from consent, I will ask you to express what your issues were.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to make a suggestion that when we do bylaws and resolutions, since we have now come up with a code of conduct for all our boards, CPRC, DEI, veterans, that we make a reference in our bylaws for all these groups that they must agree to the code of conduct to be approved for the board, and maybe attach that document to it so it's all in one place and it doesn't get overlooked at any point somewhere. So I would, and I guess this is a question for Kevin, I just think that it would be a good idea to have that code of conduct document in the bylaws for the CPRC, so everybody knows that this document is in there, everybody has to sign it, and it's all the same document. There's nothing different from one to another.
Well, I think that's fine, although I think it's kind of unnecessary since we already require each appointed board member to sign the code of conduct when they are appointed to their board. Certainly there's no reason specifically not to, make a specific mention of the code of conduct in the resolution and or in bylaws, but this is something that's already reviewed, or presumably reviewed at the very concern by appointed board members. I don't think that's necessary, for it to be included.
Does any other board member feel that the code of conduct needs to be mentioned in the bylaws for this, or it doesn't?
I don't, because he said they have to sign it anyway, so it's repetitious to me.
Okay, that was my issue.
Mayor Pro, City Manager.
I would like to add that the requirement for signing the code of conduct is in the application process.
Right.
We added that once that item was required by the board. So it is in the application process.
Right.
Which should be sufficient.
Sufficient, yeah.
So, are you good? All right, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the amendment of the CTRC 2013 resolution and bylaws.
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries 4-0. We move now to item 10, new business. 10A, adjustments to the 2024 Board of Commissioners meeting schedule. Let me make sure I'm on the right page. I think we're looking at the July 2nd meeting, and then the January 4th meeting, Commissioner Albright asked City Manager to place an item on this agenda to discuss an alternate meeting day. So, at this time, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Albright and let you, kind of start the conversation.
Well, I guess one of the reasons that I brought it up was because we always, the mayor takes time off, a couple of days to the beach, and I think, Mayor Pro Tem Kaczynski had some time too, and, Commissioner Wilkins also had some, so I thought it would just be best that we all just maybe talked about it together and figured out a time that was better for us during that week.
Do you have a particular time that you would recommend? Now, some options are to move it to the next week. Another option is to see if we can move it just the whole meeting to the work session and combine the two. But again, this is a board decision, but those are a couple of suggestions.
Well, it's kind of strange because the 4th of July this year is on a Thursday, so I'm assuming that people would want to take that entire week off, since most people that work an 8-hour, regular job would have that Friday off. So my, recommendation would probably be to move it to combine the two meetings for just that one month
Well, the
in
next
July.
Tuesday though would just be.
July 15th? Yeah, July 15th would be our work session.
The next Tuesday, July the 9th, will be the Sawassa meeting.
She's saying, I believe she.
Oh, yeah, the next Tuesday,
Okay,
yes.
that kind of.
We can't be there for the
That's what I was
Sawassa
trying to
meeting.
nail.
No, I just said to combine them, combine them both to the 15th.
City Manager, is there any reason that you know at this point, and I realize we haven't quite got that far yet, of not doing that?
Moving it to the July 15th.
Right, and just combine the two.
I don't know of any problem or conflict with that.
And just in case, there are certain requirements we are required to do once a year, or once a month, and we will do public comment, the entire required stuff at the work session.
I know, Commissioner Way is pretty busy. Commissioner Way, is this okay with you to combine them?
Yes, ma'am, that's fine with me.
And by then, we know we'll have, or hope to have, Commissioner
Gleason back here, hopefully
So,
before.
okay, at this time, I will entertain a motion to move the July 2nd meeting to July 15th, in combination with our monthly work session. Motion is made by the Mayor Pro Tem. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries 4-0. Madam Clerk, if you'll make a notation for advertisements on that. All right.
Were there any other conflicts of calendar, Mr. Commissioner Wade? Did you have a concern about March or April?
I had a concern, excuse me. The April 2nd board meeting falls during the week of spring break for Granville County schools.
I graduated.
Yeah, I have 3 children in Granville County schools,
I got a grandchild.
and for spring break, we're actually gonna be on a cruise that week.
Lucky you.
So if we could consider possibly moving that date to a different day.
And I'm gonna throw this out there, and this applies to me too. I hate to move a meeting just, we got 5 commissioners, and I hate
We'll
to.
still have a quorum of 3.
Yeah, and I hate to move it just for absence of one commissioner. Now, like I said, I'll throw that out there. I've got backup if I can't make it, but so does all the commissioners, and that we have 5 of them here.
Mr. Mayor,
But the board can do it.
I was about to say,
Well,
why
the
don't we
only
just
reason I'm
excuse
asking
them?
is because the previous work session for in the month of March, I've also been able to make that one because of work obligation, I'll be out of town. Now, I'm all about being present and fulfilling my duties, but unfortunately, work calls for one and family calls for the second.
Right, and we all have issues pop up.
And the March 18th is one of our 3 budget work sessions.
So we can't do that.
So,
Excuse them.
So, does anybody want to take any action on the request?
I move that we excuse Commissioner Way for those 2 dates.
Yes, we can do that. Would that be acceptable with you?
That's fine with me, sir.
All right. We have a motion to excuse Mr. Way for those 2 dates. Is there any further discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 4-0 to excuse Mr. Way from those 2 dates. City Clerk, that motion was made by Commissioner Wilkins. Okay. Let's see. 10B, placement of City Hall electronic door access control system. City Manager.
Mr. Mayor and members of the board, a portion of the existing electronic door control system in City Hall has become inoperable last year due to the unavailability of replacement parts and is considered to be at the end of its useful life. The City Hall door control system has 4 entrance and exits. If you'd flip to that slide, please, Barbara. I would like to show you the exact location of these doors. Okay, well, you've got a copy in your package as well, but the first control is off of Masonic. It's the main entrance to the front of the building where PD and administrative offices are. The second one is the rear door, Sandersford Street side of the parking lot. Number 3 is the access from the lobby into the police department itself. And the 4th one is the back staff entrance to PD. So, currently, the PD staff entrance buzzer is no longer operational to dispatch. Instead, police officers call dispatch via radio or have to use their keys to enter the staff entrance. Chief Wheelis, Public Works Director Steve Edwards, and I met on several occasions with Johnson Controls to discuss repair options and replacement. The proposed quote from Johnson Control is for the removal of the old system and installation of a new system for $28,800.36 under a Sourcewell contract number 030421-21S. What's included in this equipment is front door, back door cameras, high definition cameras, speakers, touch screens, readers, cameras, and a whole laundry list of items on pages 57 and 58. Sourcewell is a competitive bidding exception under state law, specifically General Statute 143-129E3, which allows units of government such as CREEDMOOR to purchase goods directly from group purchasing programs or cooperatives without going through a competitive bid process. This means that if Creedmoor is buying from a registered Sourcewell contractor, like Johnson Control, it is not obligated under state law to get multiple quotes, according to the University of North Carolina School of Government. The city of Creedmoor registered with Sourcewell as a member in 2019 and has used their contractors previously in purchasing items. City Attorney Kevin Hornick has reviewed the proposal from Johnson Control as a Sourcewell contractor. Johnson Control's warranty coverage for this project is on all materials and labor for 1 year. Aside from myself, the Public Works Director was going to be here tonight, but he's come down with the flu and been pretty sick all day. Chief Willis is here if you have questions regarding the operation of the building. And Mr. Paul Reel with Johnson Control is here to answer any technical questions the board member may have. There's two motions, if, after your discussion, if you consider doing this, is approving a budget amendment number 6 to move $28,800 to fund this project because we need to designate the funding before we approve the project. And the second motion would be to accept Johnson Control's proposal for $28,836 to install this system. The second part of that motion we have pulled because originally it was my understanding that there was a 90-day warranty on the service agreement. That is a 1 year, so there's no need for the board to have to deal with that tonight. It will go a year out under warranty before you have to, or I have to, because it's within my spending restraints at $1,600 per year. So if the board has questions of myself or the chief or Mr. Reel, we'll be glad to take those.
Are there any questions? Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, so the 1639.80, that's not gonna happen.
It's not an issue for tonight, no ma'am.
Good. All right, so on page 54, it says billed annually for a 5-year term. And on page 69, under terms and conditions, it says annual service charge for the first 3 years. So I've got 5 years on one page and 3 years on the other. I need to know which one we're doing here.
Okay, you can totally ignore this 1639 on page 54. Mr. Rivera, nor I saw the need to have to take that off because you're just dealing with the 28.8, but.
So how long do we have that? So the annual service charge, will it still be that amount of money next year?
It will be. And the reason it says 3 years is they guarantee that price not to change for 3 years. But there's no need for that service until 1 year warranty runs out. So that's when it will kick into place next year.
But then it says whenever we do it, it will be billed annually for a 5-year term, which means it's like for 5 years, it's guaranteed to be at that price. But then on page 69, it says only 3 years. So I need to know.
If I may, and Paul, you correct me if I'm wrong, come up to the microphone just in case. It's a 5-year agreement. But they guarantee the first 3 years at that amount, and then they have the ability, based on cost of inflation or whatever, to adjust that. Is that correct?
So what I'm trying to understand is why does it say billed annually for 5 years? It should say 3 years.
Well, it's a 5-year contract.
Okay.
And only the first 3 will be billed at $1638.80.
Okay.
Following 2 would be adjusted.
But the first year is free, so it technically gets us to the 4th year, right?
Does the 5-year start in 1 year or after, Paul?
The first 3 years would start, that first year, because when we started to do this, we didn't have the Sourcewell contract, so you would have 1 year under Sourcewell, 2 years under Johnson Controls, and then the other 2 years, there would be options if they're, due to inflation.
So we won't have to pay the first service charge out for 1 year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
You good? Commissioner Way.
So what's the annual service charge? What does it encompass? What are we getting with the annual service charge?
What you're getting is, one is the monitoring of the system. This is a hosted system, so any upgrades, any software upgrades, anything like that is going to be taken care of through the cloud and through Johnson Controls. So any type of updates will be automatic for the system. And then also it will cover all parts, all labor for the system. So if anything were to happen, besides acts of nature, acts of God, and those type of things, we would be covering.
And when something goes wrong and what is the response time for a technician?
Usually, depending, it's, within about, 24 to 48 hours.
That's all I have.
All right, Commissioner Wilkins.
Is there any kind of cap on year 4 or 5? I wouldn't want to see year 4 go to $3,278.
You know, I doubt that would happen, but that is something that, under, let's say, Johnson Controls, we do allow that to be renegotiated. So if, let's say, something were to happen, we could renegotiate another fixed price for years, because that is separate from the installation.
Gotcha, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Did we say that the paddles would be put on the door for handicapped people?
That's a totally separate issue. No, ma'am, not as part of this.
Okay, so would that be too much to do? Because this back door where the handicap parking is, we have one employee now and another one coming that that use walkers. So they can't pull the door and push their walker in. I need a handicap. How much more are we talking to do this? Is it possible to work it into this?
That would be a separate issue than the access. The access is more of, making sure that, you know, the door is available, let's say, after hours or not after hours, and also on the police side that a person could use either, smart credentials or any type of credentials to enter during this time. The handicap is a
The
different.
city manager has said that that is part of our renovation project to do that, whereas what he's doing is strictly the locks and access.
Okay, well, I'd like to have that looked into since we have an immediate need for it.
Okay, any further discussion or questions? All right, not hearing any, we'll address the budget amendment first.
And you have a replacement budget amendment that's been prepared by Mr. Paines. It changes from the $30,440, which included the service agreement, which is no longer needed, to the redo Amendment 6 for 28.8. So the first motion would be for that budget amendment, and the second would be to accept Johnson Controls' proposal.
All right, budget amendment appropriating $28,800 of general fund balance for the replacement of City Hall electronic access door control systems. This is amendment number 6 for FY '24. Motion to accept.
So moved.
Motion is made by Commissioner Way. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we move on to a motion to accept Johnson Controls' proposal of $28,800.36 to install a new electronic access door control system.
So moved.
Motion is made by the Mayor Pro Tem. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
All right, let me see if I can move that back out of the way. All right, now we move to the most interesting part, financial report ending January 31st.
Are we not gonna,
City Finance Officer.
we not gonna do this one?
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Commissioners.
Hello.
Tonight I bring before you our January financial update. Same format as the previous updates. If you look at your total revenues percentage collected, we're sitting at 63%. Key areas that I always like to point out is the investment earnings, where we have already exceeded the estimated collection for the fiscal year. At Avalon property taxes, you're seeing a percentage collected of 85%. So if you come down to your general fund expenditures, you see we are 64% spent so far for the fiscal year. Come on down to the stormwater revenue, we are sitting at 99% collected as far as the stormwater collections that we receive every month. far as stormwater expenditures, we're at 41% expended. Power bill expenditures and revenues, we have collected both allocations for the fiscal year at $172,793, 20,000 over what we budgeted. Expenses, we're sitting at 17% expense. Just one quick other financial update. As you all know, Sharp Patel's audit contract, this was FY '23 audit was the last audit under their contract, so I had to send out a RFP, so a request for proposal for audit services. It was sent out on January 17th. In the RFP is requested that bids are due by February 16th, and once all bids have been received and I have reviewed them, I will bring before you a recommendation at you all's March 5th board meeting for you all's approval. And of course, we have our strategic retreat this coming Saturday, so I will have more financial information and goods for you all at that meeting. If you have any questions regarding what I presented tonight, please feel free to ask.
Any questions for Finance Director? Commissioner Way.
Under sales and services, we have 132%, in parentheses here. Can you explain the such large increase?
Yeah, a big chunk of that is the property that was sold, during this fiscal year, the sale of the vehicles. And there are also other items in that as far as, recreation, membership, dues, sponsorship donations, multiple line items go into that one sales and service line that you see there. But a big part of it was the sales of the vehicles and also property.
Okay.
Any other questions? Mayor Pro Tem.
So the revenue that comes from the community center, that's under sales and services?
Yes.
Is there any way we could break that out? I really would like to see what the revenue is that comes in from the community center.
Okay.
On a monthly basis, if we could.
Yeah, and what I can do is put a little excerpt under it that shows specifically for recreation.
Thank you so much, that's great.
Any further questions? Not singing, once again, sir, thank you very much, excellent job.
Have a good night.
All right. We move now to discussion items, which there are none. City Manager's report.
Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners, in addition to the department head report you have in your package, I have a few other comments I'd like to make. A preliminary scope of work, cost estimate, and other required documents have been submitted to the North Carolina Office of State Budget Management for the $250,000 state grant for CREEDMOOR for the City Hall renovation project. The Granville County Parks and Rec Committee, 24-25, has submitted a mini grant application last week requesting $17,207 in grant funds to replace picnic tables at Lake Rogers that include ADA accessible tables as well. On Tuesday, January the 30th, CREEDMOOR received the results of the 2024 property tax reevaluation from Granville County Tax Administrator Jenny Griffin. The total tax base property increased from 74%, from $385,622,634 to $669,728,748 for 2024. Granville County government is currently in the process of conducting background checks and references on the applicant for the city-county grant writer's position. I talked to Mr. Terry Hobgood on probably a weekly basis to stay in touch with where they are with that. We had a good interview with the gentleman, and I think he'll do a great job if they can get him on board. Staff and I are working on revisions to the city CREEDMOOR personnel policy to add or recommend changes, including a social media policy that was approved by the board or reference to that policy. employee dress codes, and some work from home guidelines. A refund of $19,493 is still pending from DOT on the 5707L project, as one-year warranty on the landscape is very close to the end. I don't recall if it's February or March, but we're coming up on the end of that where we should get another refund. Subject to your questions, that concludes my comments.
Are there any questions for the city manager? Mayor Pro Tem.
Where are we on Furbo? Do we have a start date for Furbo?
We on Furbo. Carl, do you mind taking that question? Carl deals with it every day, so let me get him. He's the most up-to-date person here.
Carl Bartlett, city engineer. We do not have a specific date to start on Furbo, but they said it'd be early March is their expected timeline. So toward the end of February, I'll be checking with Moffitt to find out what that start date is. But in case you hadn't heard, the project on Clifton started this morning.
I heard that. That was really exciting. That's why I wanted to ask you. I'm getting greedy. I want to know about Furbo. Thank you, Carl.
When we get a specific date, I'll make sure I pass it.
Any other questions for Carl? Not hearing any. Thank you, sir. Any questions for the city manager? Not hearing any. We will move on to item 13, SIG-WASA report. Commissioner Way.
Members of the board, I forwarded the latest director's report from Mr. Schroyer to you. Does anyone have any questions about the latest report that was sent out? I have nothing to add. Commissioner Kozinski?
No, the executive director from SIG-WASA will be here on Saturday to present to the commissioners an update on the status of SIG-WASA and be available for questions. He called me earlier this week to find out if we had anything specific, but I hadn't heard anything from anybody, so I reviewed what he was going to tell us, and I think that's all we can, but he will be here. So if you have any questions about SIG-WASA and I-85 project, or the pump station at Lake Rogers, or Joe Pede, or the system development fees, we can all talk about that on Saturday.
Any questions for our SIG-WASA representatives? Not seeing any, we will move to commissioners' reports. Commissioner Wilkins.
Yes, sir. On Wednesday evening, January the 10th, I attended the Veterans Organization meeting at the CCC. And I want to mention Mr. Danny Emery was kind enough to purchase a flag for our meeting so we can properly salute the flag at each meeting. And that is all I have, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, Danny.
Commissioner Way.
I did attend the joint planning board meeting that we had before our meeting last week, and I actually came last night to the Board of Adjustments, but unfortunately they didn't have a quorum to meet. But Mr. Igdepa got sworn in as the newest member, and looking forward to serving with the city. That's all I have.
All right, sir. Mr. Albright.
I did attend the same joint meeting as Commissioner Way did. Commissioner Wilkins, all of us were there. It was a good time. We got what we needed to accomplish done, and we moved along. So that's all I have. Thank you.
And I will recognize that that was the shortest meeting that in the history of CREEDMOOR, lasted 2 minutes. All right, and Mayor Pro Tem.
So I attended the Campo meeting in January with the mayor, and we voted to give, is it the Highway Association? To turn US 1 into a toll road. We voted for them to do a study to find out if they could turn US 1 into a toll road for a freeway. I attended the UNERBA meeting via Zoom. Went also to the Joint Planning and Board of Commissioners meeting. Attended the County Board of Commissioners and Board of Education meeting the other night, which was very interesting, and it's very good to know that we have a county manager who recognizes that there are some deficiencies in our school system, and he's got some real good ideas on fixing them, and hopefully we can move forward, because there's a lot of building problems in the schools. They've been neglected for way too long, maintenance issues, I should say. I have, enjoyed meeting with Mr. Frangos, on the Northwest Corridor study with the county and with the city manager and Mr. Frangos, and hearing about that. And that's all I got.
All right, thank you, ma'am. As far as mayor's report, pretty much what everybody else said. Most of my meetings are coming up in the next couple of weeks and 3 weeks, so I'll report on those when the time comes. So, at this time, I will entertain a motion to go into closed session. Commissioner Albright, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. We are adjourned for closed session.
Hey, Danny, when you were saying about, you said the houses increased, I went back and looked at the one from November.
What time?
I did pull it up to make sure. Our agenda packet.
8 o'clock for light refreshments, and the meeting starts at 8:30.
Okay, thank you.
And both of them matched, to make sure they didn't. No problem. No, you're fine.
You know, when it's so pretty good over here.
Not only goes back to November.
No,
Well, he was talking about the housing number change. But I went back and looked at the agenda from the public hearing and then the one that was presented that he signed off with our commission, cleaning everything up and making sure traffic study and all that. I know.